Hey everybody, welcome to King of Honor Pop Culture. I'm your host, Zan Manchin. Welcome my good buddy, the Honorable Jeff, as always.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about Loki.
What'd you think? What'd you think? What'd you think?
I loved it, man. I loved it.
I did too.
I do have to say, I was very hesitant about this show just because I wasn't a big fan of WandaVision. I wasn't a big fan of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I was really looking forward to. But I thought they really fired on all cylinders on this show.
See, and I was a fan of both those. I think that what I thought I was getting isn't exactly what I got in either one of those two shows, but I actually was a really big fan of both those shows. I thought they were both well done. This one, even better. It got a little weird at times. Like Loki falling in love with Loki was kind of strange. A few other things that happened throughout this was a little weird, but all in all, the story and everything that happened, what it's setting up, like phase 4, we got our big bad now.
Yeah.
We've got everything now. And the fact that they're creating
I'm sorry, not even just one big bad, we've got multiple versions of it.
Of the big bad, yeah. And it's going to lead to a lot of things. I guess there's a new show coming called What If that's animated, and that's going to be exploring all these new multiverses. Like there's a zombie world where the Avengers are zombies. There's a world that is all about, there's an episode that's going to be all about Doctor Strange and all his different timelines. So I wasn't looking forward to an animated series, but now I kind of am because of what Loki did to set that up.
I was looking forward to it, and one of them was also that T'Challa becomes Star-Lord and not Peter Quill.
Nice. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because I see it's where it came from and where it's going. Now, what I'm not sure is there only one Kang the Conqueror? And the man who remains was not King the Conqueror, just a variant of him? Or how's that going to work?
I don't know. I mean, there's if you like in the comics, there's lots of kings over time, right? Like Ramatut, there's King himself, and there's other variations of him. So it's really exciting that they're kind of going down that same road in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where like He Who Remains basically was like, this is like your one chance to stop me. And
right.
so I mean that's pretty much what it's going to be, is like this is a Thanos level type thing where Kang really can control time, and he like moves in and out of different time and space all the time. So he really is someone that is very hard to actually defeat. And even if you do defeat him, he's gonna pop up in another version somewhere else.
Well, and that's his dying line was "See you soon."
Right.
Because he knows that there's so many of him out there.
Right.
And it wasn't one of the Kangs. Didn't one of the Kangs become a young Avenger?
Maybe, I don't know. I never read the Young Avengers.
Along with the kid Loki. So it was interesting, like the whole timekeepers thing. That was another weird moment. But when you're going through this stuff, these episodes, every single episode kind of just built on itself and made for a great grand finale.
Yeah.
And of course, always spoiler alerts. But when Loki finally made it back to the TVA, and they had no clue who he was, and the statue had changed from the three timekeepers to Kang.
Right.
And it was Kang. He wasn't dressed like the Man Who Remains. He was dressed like Kang.
Exactly.
So it's just interesting because I really want to see season 2. They've already announced. I am now fired up again for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And after Endgame, I kind of struggled with it because, like you said, WandaVision wasn't as great as we'd hoped. I thought it was still entertaining and good, but not great.
It was, but you had to get through those first two episodes, and if you
Yep,
and I think there's plenty of people that just weren't going to do that because
punched out.
if they want to watch Bewitched, they'd watch Bewitched. You you know.
And the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I thought was well done too. The problem is that it wasn't the journey I was expecting or the payoff that we got that I was expecting. Like I wasn't expecting Sam to go all in on this being Captain America and delivering all these speeches to prove that he's the worthy guy and all this stuff. Wasn't expecting that. Really nothing. And then of course I haven't seen it yet, but having a Natasha movie, Black Widow movie after she died at the end is kind of a setback. So I was not as geared up for going forward with phase 4 as I am now after watching Loki. After watching Loki, I'm all in. All I want to do is see all these different Kang variants.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, for the first cinematic movie to be for the first, well, truly in a cinema's meant to be story to be Black Widow set in the past, and then the second one to be Shang-Chi is a little bit odd. The
Right.
third one's the Eternals, and so you're really not getting back into anybody people know on a present level time frame in the theaters until you get to Spider-Man No Way Home, and that's not even technically a Marvel movie; it's a Sony. So
Yeah,
it is a bit odd the way they've done this.
the next MCU movie that we're actually getting back to people we know is Ant-Man and Wasp.
Right.
And then after that, then we get Doctor Strange, and then we get, I can't remember what comes after that, but
Is it Thor?
now
It's Thor: Love and Thunder, probably.
yeah. So I mean, it was just, yeah, we had WandaVision, like you said, the payoff was great. You had to get through the first couple episodes, but it wasn't as strong as I'd hoped, and really didn't build anything for the future. Okay, yeah, we got Scarlet Witch. We know she's going to face off with Doctor Strange, but there was really nothing else built. Same thing with
No, Monica. They built towards Captain Marvel, towards Monica Rambeau's version
oh,
of the
yep,
real Captain Marvel. In my
yep, you're
opinion.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. They did build up Monica Rambeau, but they and then when you looked at Falcon the Winter Soldier, it was a good story. It was great to see Sam's transition, but it was also didn't do much to build forward.
Yeah.
That one actually did less
Well,
to build forward than WandaVision did.
my problem with that show is it seemed like it had so many pacing issues involved. It just seemed like they were stuck in place for like they could have done 4 episodes instead of 6, and it would have been a tighter, better story to me.
I
You know?
think a movie would have been okay, to be honest. I don't think
Yeah.
I think that spent way too much time building up stuff that we already knew. Like the first 2 episodes were building up the characters that we already knew. And then we had kind of 2 episodes of them kind of infighting. And then
Yeah.
we had 2 episodes that actually mattered to the story. So I think that would have served better as a 2.5 hour movie than a 6 hour series.
Yeah.
In all
I,
honesty.
I did like the introduction of John Walker. I do appreciate that, and the fact that by the end of the episode, even though he wasn't called this, he would become U.S. agent. Um,
Yep.
and the fact that we have Val there, who is like leading towards the Dark Avengers, probably.
Right.
So that they did set that up for the future with that, but like Sharon Carter being the power broker, it's like why? What's that going to
Right.
do? That didn't really. It first of all, it didn't fit with her character in the comics, but secondly, it's a little bit bizarre, like and like what's it really going to end up accomplishing down the road? I guess we'll see. Maybe it'll play a bigger role in Secret Invasion or something. But
Maybe. I don't know.
no, well, actually, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not really Sharon, right? Maybe it's a scroll.
Yeah, possibly. That's a possibility. I mean, okay, now when I look at it that way, I guess that show did build up a lot more future than I originally thought. But nothing built up more than Loki. Um, and I loved the episode when there were all the Lokis all turning on each other. I thought that
Yeah.
was great. I love the
Because an army of Lokis is always that's always going to happen. They're never
yeah.
going to be an army of Lokis would never be able to get along.
It was just funny that they that scene was just classic. That was like classic Loki, and it was all literally them all turning on each other. And you knew at the end that Sylvie and Loki were going to end up turning on each other too. That's just what Lokis do. But the build up to the story, I, I felt like that final episode was more about Kang than it was about Loki's. But after hearing his story and seeing that statue and all this stuff, it made me really realize that um, this is it was well done. It really was probably the best introduction of a villain I think we've seen yet.
Yeah, and the thing is that, and I did think it was great also that unless you were actually a fan of the Marvel comics, you had no idea who the hell he was because they never called him. They called him the
No,
Conqueror. They called him he who remains. They never
well,
called him King in the show.
the reason that I knew it was him is because he's already been announced as King in the Ant-Man and Wasp movie.
Okay.
So that's how I knew as soon as I saw him on screen, I'm like, okay, that's Kang. But that's only because I knew he'd already been announced as Kang for an upcoming movie.
I did not know who was King. I mean, I had heard it was a black actor, but I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, it's Jonathan
And
Majors.
yeah, I don't know who that is. Um,
Oh, really?
and yeah, and so but when he started talking, I figured actually at the end of the fifth episode when I saw the castle and stuff, I was like, oh, are they setting up? Is that going to be Doctor Doom and they're setting up for Fantastic Four? And somebody told me like, no, so much better. So so I was Kang. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, that is better than Doctor. Yeah, what would I have seen Jonathan Majors in that with a few years?
I'm looking it up now. There's a few movies that I've seen him in, but I don't know that you would have seen it.
Okay,
Like Jungle Land, he was in Captive State, Out of Blue, White Boy Rick. These are all movies I've seen him in.
no,
He's announced to be in Creed 3. Um, and then of
I
course
haven't, I,
Ant-Man.
I've not seen.
Well, it hasn't come out yet. It's supposed to come out
No,
next year.
I was being smart. I was being smart.
But I mean, I've seen him in a few movies. Like I saw him in Jungle Land. I saw him in Captive State. I saw him in White Boy Rick. I saw him in Hostels. So I've seen him before, and I recognized him as soon as he came on screen, and I knew that
The,
he
only-
had been
the only one of
announced.
those movies, the only one of those three movies you mentioned that I've ever even heard of is Hostels.
Oh, well, It's not the Hostels that you're thinking of. The Hostels.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not the horror movie Hostels. This is an actual um, movie that's like a war movie. But Ant-Man and the Wasp um, is when he's slated next to redo Kang the Conqueror. But
okay.
I knew he had been announced for it, and I recognized him because I saw his picture when they announced it. So I knew right away when I saw him come out eating that apple that he was Kang. But I mean, he didn't really give much in his monologue to point to the fact that he was Kang until that part where he's like, worst parts of me are coming, worst variants of me are coming. And then when you saw him as a statue dressed like Kang, it was like, oh, okay, yep, now that's, even if I hadn't known he was Kang, I would have known from that statue.
Yep, you would have because you're a Marvel fan. But what I'm
True.
saying is people that didn't read the comics and only follow the cinematic universe, unless they
They had no clue.
probably like went looking like on Google like right afterwards, like, okay, so who is this guy again?
Or maybe
You know?
maybe they're just sitting back enjoying the shows and following the story where it goes without any knowing Kang. So when he actually is revealed as Kang, they're gonna be like, holy crap.
Right.
There are a faction of those people too that are just following the story to follow the story. They're not, comic book geeks like we are that can memorize what a guy looks like dressed as a comic book character. So when we see a statue of him, we're like, oh yeah.
I
You know,
suppose. I also wanted to mention on this show what a revelation Owen Wilson was as Mobius. Like,
right.
like Owen Wilson to me has always just kind of been like that, that comedy kind of like, surfer guy type guy. And then and he was just so, and I do think he was having a bit of an illusion of that with like, you think of the greatest invention of all time is the jet ski. But, but
Yeah,
I, but I, but I really enjoyed this role. I thought he did a fantastic job as Mobius
yeah,
in
I
this
did
one.
too. I did too. And I mean, it was still Owen Wilson is such a first of all, that nose
Yeah,
that's clearly been broken way too many times. And then his cadence, the way he talks and everything, you knew it was, but he did such a good job distinguishing himself from that comedy actor that he's been
right.
to this more serious, down to earth guy. That it was, even though you knew you were watching Owen Wilson, every time he spoke, you're like, oh yeah, yeah, that's Owen Wilson. Um, you still were able to buy into his character as Mobius.
Absolutely. I thought he was great. I thought he was um I actually thought he was the best part of the show.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the depth that he did that character to. You know,
What, Crocodile Loki wasn't your favorite part?
no,
I liked Crocodile Loki,
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said it wasn't my favorite.
especially when he bit off that other Loki's hand. I don't know, the Loki's in that episode. And that was the fifth episode. So it was
Yeah.
like the second to last, but that easily might have been my favorite episode because of all the Lokis and when they're sharing their stories of how they messed up the timeline. Like that one Loki, he was the one who got the Infinity Gauntlet.
Hmm.
And then the other Loki killed, the kid Loki killed Thor. So it was uh, I can't remember what they said about the alligator Loki. He ate a cat or something
Yeah.
that he wasn't supposed to eat. It was just I don't know. I can't. What was classic Loki's reason? Oh,
Uh,
because
Go
after
ahead.
the battle of New York, he escaped to a planet that he lived by himself forever. And
Right.
then he decided to re-enter civilization, and that's when it screwed up because he didn't die, or no, when Thanos killed Loki in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he actually faked his death because he projected a version of himself. And
He
then
was
after,
also. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and then after Loki left, he went to a faraway planet and just stayed there for years.
Yeah, it was really cool to see classic Loki, like to see a Loki on screen in that actual, in a live action setting, in his actual like original like Loki garb from like the Jack
Yeah,
Kirby days. That was really cool.
that
I really enjoyed seeing
that
that.
green that green suit and the big horns and everything.
The big yellow horns, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That
I
was,
enjoyed that too. But
and it was also nice to see. I also thought it was nice to see Jamie Alexander back in this show as Sif. I always enjoyed that
yeah,
actress, and I always enjoy like that. Like first of all, I mean, she's like just absolutely stunning. So just seeing her face in anything is fun, but just seeing that character show up and just kicking Loki's ass over and over, I thought was a lot of fun.
right, yeah, yeah. There was, and you know, I can't remember. Like I know she follows him pretty much everywhere. We saw at the end that she went to meet with Kang, that Ravonna Renslayer.
Yeah,
I know in the comics she's kind of his love interest that follows everywhere, but I don't know much about her.
I don't either.
So it's going to be interesting to see where that story goes. All I know is this got me fired up, and this has me looking forward to more.
Yeah, I was not expecting there to be a second season of Loki. So the revelation that the story wasn't over, that we were getting a second season was really cool. And now we know we're getting a season of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Now we're getting a second season of Loki. So that's pretty cool that they're
Jonathan
continuing on these TV series.
Jonathan Majors combined his character. He combined 4 movies to create his character in as the Man Who Remains, or He
Okay.
Who Remains. The Wizard of Oz, the Sunset Boulevard, Citizen Kane and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay, I can see three of them. I've never seen Sunset
I've
Boulevard
never
before,
seen.
so
Yeah,
I wouldn't know what that was from.
I haven't seen that either. But yeah, you could definitely see his portrayal as He Who Remains as, you know, all three of those Wizard of Oz, Citizen Kane and Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit of that in all of them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I never even. I mean, I've heard of Sunset Boulevard, but I couldn't even tell you what it's. So,
They're also, according to this, this character was Immortus.
Yeah, Immortus is also, yeah, Ramatut, Immortus, King. They're all versions of the same entity.
Yeah, but having this be Immortus, that kind of changes things, doesn't it? Because wasn't Immortus kind of a good guy?
No, I wouldn't say so. He's fought King before. That doesn't make him a good guy.
Cat, Jesus. Like, I'd like to go a half hour without you being on me. He's the future self of Pharaoh Ramatat, King the
Right.
Conqueror, and Iron Lad.
Exactly.
Okay, so, but he's a very charismatic sociopath, is how he describes it.
I even can see a little bit, and I know he didn't say this character, but Jack Nicholson's character in The Departed, I can also kind of see that in this role as well. You know?
A little bit from the end of The Shining too,
Yeah.
when he finally goes crazy.
Yeah.
He utilized his classical clown training for the part.
I didn't know there was such thing as classical clown training.
I didn't either. But yeah, this really does. I'm giving this a thumbs up. You know, easy 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, this was huge. I'm not going to say it was 10 out of 10 because I think there were a few weird spots that they could have done without, but definitely 9.5 out of 10. This could possibly be my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe release yet. And that includes
it's not for me, but it's really good. My one criticism with it is I thought this should have been 5 episodes. Like I thought 3 and 4 should have been just one long episode.
True. Yeah. I'm trying to think of where I would put, like, Endgame is high up there, but that first hour we could have done without.
Infinity War is much better.
Infinity War was great. I think Civil War was great, but as far as rewatchability, I think I'd put Loki above them for myself.
No, for me, it's number 1 is Infinity War, number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy, number 3 is Civil War, and this might slot in number 4.
All right, so we have pretty much the same 4, just in different order.
You didn't mention Guardians of the Galaxy.
I didn't mention Guardians, no.
That is the most rewatchable of any of the movies.
Yeah, that one did have quite a bit going on, especially when they had a dance off at the end. My only real problem with that movie is the fact that they introduced all these characters that meant nothing to the rest of the Marvel universe. That entire planet, I can't remember who they were.
Who cares?
No, they're actually decent comic book characters.
Well, it's a fantastic movie. I really don't care about ancillary parts of it.
Well, to me, it became kind of like the dude in Iron Man 3. One of his greatest enemies of all time, who ended up being,
the Mandarin.
Yeah, just an actor. It kind of
but they're retconning that again in Shang-Chi, so I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Okay. But who the hell it was? Now I want to know who it was.
as just as a cinematic movie experience, Guardians of the Galaxy is a blast. It's a blast. Is all I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, there's you can easily rewatch them over and over and over again. And you're not going to lose anything.
Yeah, true.
Anything else on Loki?
The Nova Corps. It was the Nova Corps.
Oh, the Nova Corps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the fact that they weren't a part of any of the rest of it was disappointing to me. Because I mean, the Nova Corps had some pretty iconic stuff in the Marvel universe.
And they might still down the road.
Yeah, maybe, but
they,
yeah,
but,
no,
but they,
I don't.
but they kind of got devastated by that battle against.
Right, and that's where to me it came across like the Mandarin, where it was, here's a huge part of the comic books and a huge part of these stories that is now not going to be a part of it.
Yeah, but
I mean,
they also introduced the Nova Corps into there, and they started to introduce Adam Warlock, so we'll probably see him down. So.
Yeah, that is true. We do got Adam Warlock coming too. So, all right, yeah, I've got nothing else on Loki except watch it, enjoy it, and enjoy what comes of this, because I have a feeling that this one show set up the next probably 10 years of the Marvel universe.
And we're going to try to watch the next first 3 or 4 episodes of Titans before next week to try to cover that.
That's on the Disney Plus app, right? No,
HBO Max.
That would be on the HBO Max.
Yeah.
I got my cinematic universes confused.
Yes, you did.
All right. So guys, check out our other shows on the channel. Do us a favor, hit a like, subscribe, or notification bell, all that good stuff. And also check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor.
And if you haven't noticed it, we just talk about everything going on with AEW, the last 4 weeks, plus the rumored signings of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk on Monday. So check that out as well. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, this is Shane saying long days, pleasant nights, and Jeff saying
goodbye.